And a man suspected of threatening to kill the president was killed as the FBI served a warrant. Plus, veterans visited JCC and learned about care and service providers.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us at Western New York News Now. I'm Lee Kane Jr. Before we begin today, I would just like to take a moment and thank you all for your kind words. And I would like to give a special thank you to Sheila Pearson for her advice to sit up a little straighter. I greatly appreciate your feedback, as that will help me become a better anchor for you. Now that that's been said, let's get right into it. It's time to tie your sneakers and leash your pooch. The Chautauqua County Humane Society's Walk for Paws event is coming up, and registration is officially open. Taking place at a brand new location, Panzarella Island Park, the pet-friendly fundraiser is back with some new activities for humans and furry friends alike, such as pet portraits and even a scavenger hunt. Our Alyssa Wright has more on this great event.
We're going to have some fun things along with the walk. We're going to have a couple of local photographers are going to be doing pet portraits and family portraits with their pets. We're going to do something we've done for enrichment here at the shelter for a while now, is pet art. This is art that your pet will create. It's paintings, and it's safe, and it's something that we and the dogs love it. The cats do it. It's really cool. So we're going to let people have the opportunity to try that out. Kind of see a little bit behind the scenes what happens at the shelter to enrich the animals here, because it's as important at home to enrich as it is here.
All four-legged friends are welcome as long as they feel comfortable.
This is a time, it's family-friendly, pet-friendly, as long as your pets are mostly dogs. It's a lot of dogs. Sometimes the occasional cat will come. If they're comfortable in that environment, if you feel it's safe for them, if you're comfortable that they're in that environment, we never want anybody to feel uncomfortable. To come on down. It's a walk around the river walk. This is the first time we've done that. It's always been a big fundraiser for the shelter.
The Walk for Paws event is one of the biggest fundraisers the shelter holds, and staff are hopeful for the outcome.
As everybody knows, things are expensive right now. If you have a pet at home, 2 pets at home, we have like 100 pets or more. It covers our foster program, our pet pantry, which we last year gave out 24,000 pounds of food. We're at like 18 already this year. And we ran out twice. So, just needs are there. We're doing the best we can to fill them, and this is how it works.
Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
The Walk for Paws will take place at the Panzarella Island Park on Saturday, September 16th. In-person registration starts at 10 a.m. and it is $25 per person and includes a pet bandana and 1 ticket to participate in the newly added activities. There will be additional fundraising opportunities upon registration. To sign up online, you can visit chqhumane.org. A Buffalo woman has pleaded guilty to grand larceny in the 3rd degree, a Class D felony, on Tuesday afternoon. 41-year-old Latonia N. Turner stole a debit card from an elderly woman's purse while she slept at a senior living facility where Turner worked as a patient aide. Between April 27, 2023 and June 8, 2023, Turner made 55 unauthorized ATM withdrawals from the victim's bank account. She was able to gain access to the account because the victim had written down her personal identification number, also known as a PIN, on a piece of paper that was also kept in her purse. The crime was uncovered after the victim reviewed her checking account statements and reported the fraudulent transactions to the bank. She was reimbursed by the bank for the loss, which totaled $41,216. Turner subsequently confessed to the crime, which was corroborated by surveillance video from the bank and senior living facility. As a stipulation of her guilty plea, Turner will be forced to pay full restitution to the bank and will be unable to work as a patient care aide due to her felony conviction. She will be sentenced on Tuesday, October 24, 2023 at 2 p.m. She faces a maximum sentence of 7 years in prison and was released on her own recognizance. Anyone can become the victim of a financial crime, so I encourage everyone to take extra precautions to safeguard their personal information. Please do not write passwords or PINs on your debit card or anywhere that can be easily located by a scammer, said Erie County DA John Flynn. 37-year-old Ian Millam, a Pittsford, New York resident, has been charged with production, receipt, and possession of child pornography, as well as transfer of obscene material to a minor. Assistant U.S. Attorney Megan K. McGuire, who was handling the case, stated that on May 3, 2023, the Greece, New York Police Department received a report that a sexually explicit video was discovered on a 12-year-old girl's phone. The girl allegedly received the video from her friend, an 11-year-old girl referred to as Minor Victim 1. Subsequent investigation determined that Snapchat accounts with usernames Matt Eckler and Mikey Wikey37 had been contacting the two minor girls. Search warrants executed on the Snapchat accounts were traced to defendant Millam, who allegedly posed as a high school student in the Spenceport School District and sent sexually explicit photos and videos to minor victim 1. Investigators also uncovered numerous sexually explicit conversations between the accounts in question and other Snapchat users who appeared to be minors, including minor victim 2, a 12-year-old girl. Millam is also accused of coercing minor victim 2 to send sexually explicit photos to him. Millam is a 6th grade math teacher at Cosgrove Middle School within the Spenceport School District. He made an initial appearance Wednesday afternoon before U.S. Magistrate Judge Mark W. Peterson and is being held pending a detention hearing on August 14, 2023 at 10 a.m. If any members of the public have information regarding this defendant or the Snapchat accounts Matt Eckler or Mikey Wikey37, please contact the FBI at 585-279-0085. An annual display of classic cars across downtown Jamestown returns this Friday for the 30th year. Patrons can view the hundreds of different desirable vehicles in downtown Jamestown, in addition to music, vendors, and a slew of local businesses. In previous years, complaints have arisen over burnouts from the show cars. However, those with the Chamber of Commerce tell us that they have spoken to registered show car owners about the complaints. New this year, the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department will be in attendance with an Amish buggy giving information about driver safety. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the car show, a huge accomplishment for those involved.
I've only been running it for a couple years, and then the Chambers ran it prior to that. But it's a great event. It brings tons of people downtown. People look forward to it every year. We've got some great music going on. There's going to be some food from the restaurants that are already downtown, as well as we're bringing in a few extras this year. It's an exciting time.
The cruise-in will take place this Friday in downtown Jamestown from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. The public is urged to attend. As WNY News Now continues, a man suspected of threatening to assassinate President Biden was killed by the FBI. And later, veterans learned about care and service providers at JCC. Stay with us as WNY News Now will be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
15-year-old Yadiel Diaz was subject to a public humiliation stunt by a fellow student in an act of violence and bullying. Now Yadiel's mother, Raquel, has had enough.
Officials are trying to work with the county's homeless coalition to help support the homeless population locally. There are also plans in the works to build 2 new shelters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th. Register online at macker.com before July 31st.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is toughening her public safety platform to help Democrats retake control of the House, a strategic reset after Republicans won a series of upsets in the state's congressional races by seizing on concerns over crime. The recalibration follows a disastrous midterm election cycle for Democrats in New York after Republicans flipped 4 U.S. House seats in the state last year, helping them win control of the chamber. The Democratic losses were blamed by many, including those in her own party, on Hochul's apparent failure to mount a forceful, top-of-the-ticket response to fears about crime, a key Republican point that resonated with voters in New York City's suburbs. Ahead of next year's election, the governor has begun amplifying centrist tweaks to the state's bail laws, as well as a slate of new policies on firearms. The reset puts the moderate Hochul in the middle of a national debate between the Democratic Party's liberal wing and its centrists over how best to reduce injustice in law enforcement while attending to concerns about public safety. Republicans are expected to continue hammering Democrats over New York's bail laws, which were overhauled in 2019 to eliminate an old system that allowed wealthier people accused of crimes to pay cash to get out of jail while awaiting trial, while imprisoning poorer people because they couldn't afford to buy their freedom. Under the new system, most people accused of nonviolent crimes aren't required to pay money to stay out of jail while their cases move through the courts. The GOP, which says the new bail system is putting hardened criminals back on the street, is betting voters won't see Hochul's adjustments to the bail law as having addressed its weaknesses. The governor had a tight race herself in 2022 after her opponent, Republican Lee Zeldin, zeroed in on crime, with many arguing Hochul did not address the issue urgently. The following year, she made changing the bail laws a priority and held up the state budget for several weeks as she negotiated with progressive Democrats on adjustments. She has touted this year's changes, which allow judges greater discretion over whether to jail a suspect before trial, as a platform for congressional candidates to show voters that the party takes public safety seriously. In other news, an armed Utah man accused of making threats against President Joe Biden was shot and killed by FBI agents hours before the president was expected to land in the state Wednesday, authorities said. Special agents were trying to serve a warrant on the home of Craig DeLee Robertson in Provo, south of Salt Lake City, when the shooting happened at 6:15 a.m. Robertson was armed at the time of the shooting, according to two law enforcement sources who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity to discuss details of an ongoing investigation. Robertson posted online Monday that he had heard Biden was coming to Utah and he was planning to dig out a camouflage suit and clean the dust off the M24 sniper rifle, according to court documents. Biden was scheduled to fly to Utah later in the day and visit a Veterans Affairs hospital in Salt Lake City Thursday to talk about the PAC Act, which expanded veterans' benefits. He also planned to hold a re-election fundraiser. Robertson's post indicated he did appear to own a long-range sniper rifle and numerous other weapons. He was charged under seal Tuesday with 3 felony counts, including making threats against the president, court documents show. The FBI got a tip about the Bragg threat from Truth Social in March after Robertson posted about waiting in the courthouse parking garage with a suppressed weapon and wanting to put a nice hole in his forehead. His account has since been suspended from the platform created by Trump. No further details were immediately released about the shooting, which is under review by the FBI. The U.S. government will settle a lawsuit with conservation groups and commit to releasing more endangered red wolves into the wilds of North Carolina, where nearly 3 dozen of the canine species are believed to still run free. The conservation group sued the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in 2020 after it stopped releasing captive bred wolves. Eastern North Carolina is the only place in the world where they roam wild outside of zoos and wildlife refuges. The Southern Environmental Law Center filed the lawsuit on behalf of the Red Wolf Coalition, Defenders of Wildlife, and the Animal Welfare Institute. A settlement agreement was reached Wednesday, according to documents filed in U.S. District Court in North Carolina. For 25 years, North Carolina was home to one of the most successful predator reintroductions in the world, Ramona McGee, a Southern environmental law attorney, said in a statement. For 25 years, North Carolina was home to one of the most successful predator reintroductions in the world, Ramona McGee, a Southern Environmental Law Center attorney, said in a statement. This settlement puts us on a path to restoring the red wolf to its rightful place as a celebrated success story. Red wolves once occupied much of the eastern U.S., but were driven to near extinction by trapping, hunting, and habitat loss before they were reintroduced to North Carolina in 1987. Their range is limited to 5 North Carolina counties. Scientists at zoos and other sites have maintained a captive population of nearly 300 wolves in recent years. After red wolves were reintroduced, the state's wild population grew beyond 100 and remained stable through 2012. Wolf numbers were bolstered by releases of captive-born pups and sterilization of coyotes that competed for space. But those approaches were halted in 2015 amid pressure from conservative politicians and landowners who deemed wolves a nuisance. Red wolves are in an area dominated by farms and private land. At least 96 red wolves died of gunshot wounds over the decades. Some landowners have said that the wolves made it harder to fight coyotes. A federal judge in 2014 banned night hunting of coyotes in red wolf territory because the canines are easily mixed up. By the time conservation groups filed their 2020 lawsuit, they said there could be as few as 7 red wolves living in the wild. The groups argued that federal wildlife officials violated the Endangered Species Act through actions that included halting the release of captive bred wolves in 2015. The lawsuit prompted a federal judge in 2021 to order the Fish and Wildlife Service to produce a plan to bolster the wild wolves' numbers as the lawsuit continued.
Veterans were able to meet with multiple care and service providers in Chautauqua County Wednesday, learning what options are available. We spoke to Cindy Reedy with Chautauqua County Dwyer Program, a peer-to-peer veterans assistance program, who tells us that veterans can find multiple services locally.
Chautauqua County has an abundance of wonderful agencies to help when somebody needs something, and not always because there's a problem, but we just have a lot of really, really great services in our area. So we have a coffee hour on Monday morning, and I always invite providers to come and share because we average around 50 vets come every Monday morning. It's a great place to come and tell what you have available in the community.
We also heard from Chautauqua County veterans directly who swear by the Dwyer Program.
There are many veteran services that are available. A lot of veterans don't take advantage of these services. The Dwyer Group is one of the groups, and the veteran services, all you have to do is look. If you contact the county, they'll help you, and if you just ask anybody about Dwyer, they can help you get into the services you need.
One aspect of multiple veterans' lives is the toll of mental health. Here in Chautauqua County, the Director of Mental Hygiene and a veteran himself, Carmelo Hernandez, says the Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene is there to help.
When we look at wellness, right, as a social worker, as a therapist, we look at it from a mental health perspective, but a holistic perspective, which is the entire person. And seeing an event like this, a lot of services that are available in the veteran community, and I can't complain because it's for my generation, right, for the OIF, OEF. But the one thing that we do as veterans, as we know, is we don't like to leave nobody behind. So it's very important to treat every veteran.
In the end, service providers want to inform all local veterans that there is a place to be heard and help is out there. Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
Well, coming up, President Biden issued an executive order regulating U.S. investment in Chinese technology. And later, dozens have died as the wildfires on Maui rage on. But first, we return with a look at our full weather forecast.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th. Register online on macker.com before July 31st.
If you want to speak truth to the masses, make it funny for the classes.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Let's take a look at the almanac for today. We made it to a high of 77 degrees yesterday in the city of Jamestown. Our low for today was 61, and the records for today, record high 96 set back in 1940 and a record low of 41 set back in 1975. Well, we have the chance to see some strong to severe thunderstorms once again heading into Saturday, which is the day 3 outlook from the NOAA Storm Prediction Center, which places most of the southern tier and northwestern Pennsylvania under marginal risk for severe storms. Now, we do have some strong to severe storms Saturday afternoon. The main risk with these storms will be damaging winds and possibly some hail, but we'll see how this plays out as time gets closer. Here's what's happening across the northeast right now. Low pressure moving across the region brought some showers and a couple rumbles of thunder early this morning. We're into a brief dry period right now, but a cold front will move through later this afternoon with a few more showers and thunderstorms possible before the high pressure builds back in later tonight into tomorrow, and that should dry us out for a beautiful Friday before more rain returns on Saturday. So this is your First Defense weather forecast. For the rest of the afternoon out there, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Few afternoon showers or thunderstorms will be possible as that cold front drops to the region. Highs today will range from the mid-70s at the Lake Erie shoreline to the upper 70s close to 80 across inland locations with a southwest wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour. While Jamestown cruise and returns tomorrow night, should be a beautiful evening for the cruise and out there in downtown Jamestown. 5 p.m. the cruise-in starts with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the mid-70s, and we should be dropping down to the 60s as the evening progresses. So if you're going downtown Jamestown for the cruise-in, expect beautiful weather and no weather hassles. Well, another thing we have to talk about this weekend will be the Perseus meteor shower, which peaks August 12th and August 13th. It actually has been going on since July 14th and will continue to September 1st, but the peak comes this weekend from the comet of origin of the Swift-Tuttle. We could see upwards of 50 to 75 meteors per hour, the maximum of 100. And should be visible to anyone in the northern hemisphere, but at least for us, we'll have to see how the weather plays out, as any clouds will kind of keep those meteor showers from being seen, and these will be moving at 133,000 miles per hour. So if the weather is good Saturday evening and Sunday, should see these meteor showers, you'll want to go out into the country away from any city lights for a better viewing experience of the meteor showers. Well, when we're not live on air and you want to know what's going on with the weather, follow us on the First Defense Weather page on Facebook. You can follow my weather page on Facebook at Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson. If you want to know what's going on severe weather-wise and we have storms in the area and you want to see some storm chasing, you can follow WNY Storm Chasers on Facebook, and the weather forecast is updated daily at WNYNewsNow.com/forecast. And now the 7-day outlook, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Temperatures over the next few days will be in the mid-70s. Some afternoon showers today, mainly dry tomorrow, back to the storms on Saturday, back to mainly dry weather on Sunday, and yet another system will bring in more chances for showers and thunderstorms early next week as temperatures continue to be in the low to mid-70s.
Andrew, thank you. Now for some headlines from across the nation. President Joe Biden signed an executive order Wednesday to block and regulate high-tech U.S.-based investments going toward China, a move the administration said was targeted, but it also reflected an intensifying competition between the world's two biggest powers. The order covers advanced computer chips, microelectronics, quantum information technologies, and artificial intelligence. Senior administration officials said that the efforts stemmed from national security goals rather than economic interests, and that the categories it covered were intentionally narrow in scope. The order seeks to blunt China's ability to use U.S. investments in its technology companies to upgrade its military while also preserving broader levels of trade that are vital for both nations' economies. The United States and China appear to be increasingly locked in a geopolitical competition with a conflicting set of values. Biden administration officials have insisted that they have no interest in decoupling from China, yet the U.S. also has limited the export of advanced computer chips and kept the expanded tariffs set up by President Donald Trump. China has engaged in crackdowns on foreign companies. Biden has suggested that China's economy is struggling and its global ambitions have been tempered as the U.S. has re-energized its alliances with Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the European Union. The administration consulted with allies and industry in shaping the executive order. Worry about China, but don't worry about China, Biden told donors at a June fundraising event in California. The officials previewing the order said that China has exploited U.S. investments to support the development of weapons and modernize its military. The new limits were tailored not to disrupt China's economy, but they would complement the export controls on advanced computer chips from last year that led to pushback by Chinese officials. The Treasury Department, which would monitor the investments, will announce a proposed rulemaking with definitions that would conform to the presidential order and go through a public comment process. The goals of the order would be to have investors notify the U.S. government about certain types of transactions with China, as well as to place prohibitions on some investments. Officials said the order is focused on areas such as private equity, venture capital, and joint partnerships in which the investments could possibly give countries of concern, such as China, additional knowledge and military capabilities. Thousands of Hawaii residents raced to escape homes on Maui as blazes swept across the island, destroying parts of a centuries-old town and killing at least 36 people in one of the deadliest U.S. wildfires in recent years. The fire took the island by surprise, leaving behind burned-out cars on once busy streets and smoking piles of rubble where historic buildings had stood in Lahaina Town, which dates to the 1700s and has long been a favorite destination for tourists. Crews battled blazes in several places on the island Wednesday, and the flames forced some adults and children to flee into the ocean. At least 36 people have died, according to a statement from Maui County late Wednesday that said no other details were available. Officials said earlier that 271 structures were damaged or destroyed and dozens of people injured. For comparison, the deadliest wildfire in California, the 2018 Camp Fire, killed at least 85 people, destroyed nearly 19,000 homes, businesses, and other buildings, and virtually razed the town of Paradise. As the fires continue to rage, tourists were advised to stay away. About 11,000 visitors flew out of Maui on Wednesday, with at least another 1,500 expected to leave Thursday, according to Ed Sniffen, State Transportation Director. Officials prepared the Hawaii Convention Center in Honolulu to take in the thousands who have been displaced. The fires were whipped by strong winds from Hurricane Dora passing far to the south. It's the latest in a series of disasters caused by extreme weather around the globe this summer. Experts say climate change is increasing the likelihood of such events. Fires in Hawaii are unlike many of those burning in the U.S. West, as they tend to break out in large grasslands on the dry sides of the islands and are generally much smaller than mainland fires. About 14,500 customers in Maui's were without power early Wednesday. With cell phone service and phone lines down in some areas, many people were struggling to check in with friends and family members living near the wildfires. Major General Kenneth Hara from the Hawaii State Department of Defense told reporters Wednesday night that officials were working to get communications restored, to distribute water, and possibly adding law enforcement personnel. He said National Guard helicopters had dropped 150,000 gallons of water on the Maui fires. Well, coming up next, there's no better time to watch for meteor showers than this weekend.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th. Register online at macker.com before July 31st.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
The annual Perseid meteor shower reaches its peak this weekend, sending bright trails of light streaking across the night sky. With only a sliver of moon in the sky, conditions this year will be ideal for us seeing lots of meteors. If you've got nice clear weather and a good dark sky, you go out just before dawn and you'll see a Perseid per minute or so, said NASA meteor scientist Bill Cook. That's a pretty good show. The Perseids, one of the biggest meteor showers we can see, occur every year in the late summer. Meteor showers happen when the Earth moves through fields of debris floating around in space. The Perseids come from Comet Swift-Tuttle, a big ball of ice and rock that sheds pieces of dusty debris as it orbits around the Sun. When the Earth passes by, those bits get caught in our atmosphere and burn up, creating the streaking lights. The Perseids get their name from the constellation Perseus because the meteor's path appears to start out from this point in the sky. This year's shower is already active, but the main event will be this weekend when the shower reaches its peak from Saturday night into Sunday morning. Starting around 11 p.m. local time Saturday, a few meteors will start to show up, maybe one every 15 minutes, Cook estimated. They'll keep picking up the pace until before dawn on Sunday, when you'll see meteors appear all over the place, he said. During this weekend's peak, the moon will be a waning crescent, just a small slice in the sky. That's good news because a bright moon can make it harder to spot the meteors. Last year, the moon was full during the peak. Anyone in the northern hemisphere will have a good view this year as long as the sky is clear of light pollution and clouds. You don't need any equipment to see them, but you will need to give your eyes around half an hour to adjust to the dark. Avoid looking at your cell phone since that can ruin your night vision. The Perseids can appear anywhere in the sky, so just lie on your back, look away from the moon, and take in as much sky as you can, Cook said. Well, that's going to be it for us today. I'm Lee Kane Jr., and I'd like to thank you all for watching. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. You can download it today for free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. We're also on Channel 716 on Roku and at channel716.com. Thank you for watching.